And we're live. What's going on, everybody? This is Kevin from the Thrifting Lounge, and I got one of my dear friends, one of my really, really close friends, Sammy Davis. She is a inspirational speaker on the power of positive thinking, conscious consumption through secondhand shopping. Um, I'm getting feedback. You getting feedback too, or do you have your thing muted?
I am good over here. Let me turn down your volume a little bit. Hey everybody!
All right, so let me finish that. She's authored 2 books, one of which is all about vintage, and is currently pitching a show on Vintage Americana called Heydays Vintage. And she's super busy with motivation speaking. And I'm so glad to have you on, Sammy. Seriously, take it away on Crazy Hat Night.
It's Crazy Hat Night. We have some feedback. Hopefully it's all clear for you, Kevin. It's all clear for me. Thank you so much for having me. I think the crazy hats had to happen because I think it's like 10 degrees in New York City. How cold is it in Florida?
45. So we're freezing down here too.
I'm beating you.
I really can't say it's not that cold, but it's 40 degrees out and it's freezing. It's definitely
Right.
probably the second coldest day of the year down here. So it's really cold for me. But I'm so glad to have you on, Sammy. Seriously, I've been trying for the longest time to get you on.
Thank you for having me. And it's funny because to everyone tuning in, Kevin and I actually, I'll have to look back at my phone and see exactly how long it was, but I think we ended up having like a 53-minute conversation the other night, just like talking about the potential of the resale business and all of these really beautiful opportunities to connect and help each other. Like Kevin's energy on the phone with me, I was like, okay. Okay, like I felt like I was talking to my twin. So I get to bow before you. I'm excited to be here.
Well, thank you. I'm honored that you'd actually say that, especially coming from you. I remember when I think the first 4 months that I started reselling, Sammy came out with a book, the vintage clothing book, and like 100 cool vintage stores to buy from too on eBay and online. She also sent links up to that. And by the time I bought the book, some of the links are dead because the book's now a little older. But I really bought the book to learn up on vintage clothing, and I learned a lot from the styles that you have in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and today. But I really love what you did with your SammyDVintage.com website, where you actually have tabs that give you 1920s, 1930s, and into today, and the variation of the clothes that changed throughout the eras. And can you give me a little background on why you decided to make it? Because seriously, it's a genius idea the way you came up with that.
Thank you. It's really funny. That's an interesting question because it relates to everyone who's watching this episode who is in the industry of selling vintage clothing, where a big identifier for search, as we all know, SEO, search engine optimization, is being clear about that type of vintage clothing. So people who are educated will type in 1920s dress versus just vintage dress because the styles are so different. So when I learned about SEO and how to help people who were looking for information about specific types of eras, I learned that actually structuring my site in that way, where it starts 20s, like if you go on the homepage, it'll say 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, that will tell Google more clearly what my site is all about. So that's the honesty behind it, is that I wanted to have a website that reached out to the masses so that if you were just typing in information, you would be more likely to find my site. But where it's been really helpful is that if you don't know anything about clothing of the past, and it's hard for me to remember that day because I would say I've been an enthusiast of vintage clothing for 6, 7 years. I've been a thrifter since I was 16, so that's going on 14 years. But when I first started exploring vintage, it was, I thought like an 80s dress was the 60s, or I thought like this little 1970s garment was like from the turn of the century, because the eras would duplicate the eras. So from that understanding of how easy it is to get confused about what era a piece of clothing is from, like my dress, for example, is actually from the 80s, but you may never guess it. Does this look 80s to you? I mean, the print maybe.
It looks
but
big. I'll give you that. It does.
It's not typical 80s, right? It doesn't have like the huge shoulder pads. So what's beautiful about fashion of the past too is that because, sorry, I just shook my computer screen, because we didn't have mass communication at the speed that we do, trends stayed trends for a long time. So you can research an era and be like, okay, yeah, like the late 60s was pretty much this style. Versus today, it's like changed for the most part. And obviously, as we step forward into the future, people will be like, okay, like H&M came out with this type of clothing, these few years. Target came out with their designer collections, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I can't wait to be an old lady. Like, I remember when Target did those capsule collections. Oh, my God. Because people talk to me. They're like, we're not going to have vintage in the future. I'm like, it's just going to be cheap clothing. I mean, cheap clothing, but also the well-made pieces that I believe the artists are making today. A lot of Etsy pieces, a lot of designers that are launching online, their pieces will find their way into like the vintage capsule. But the department store brands, the fast fashion brands, maybe they'll disintegrate, but they'll still be that collector in 2080 who only wants Forever 21. I promise you there will be a person collecting Forever 21. They'll be like, don't disintegrate, don't disintegrate. So anyway, I kind of went off track there, but the eras are important where we stand to understand as a seller and as a consumer, really what era am I wearing, so that I don't go selling, most importantly, or talking about a piece as if it were older than it is, because if it is older, people might just want it because it's older and it's actually newer, so you're not representing the garment correctly. So it's very important to have that knowledge to the best of your ability. I encourage everyone to do their research.
I think what's awesome too is that for me it's become easier when I see a piece, especially when I think it's vintage. I have no problem making a $3, $4, even a $10 investment, because I know that from the stuff I've done in the past with the Ola Cassini sequin dresses and stuff, I know there's a boatload of money to be made off of those dresses. And I bought like 2 months ago it's a gold, like a prom maxi dress with the puffy sleeves.
Right.
And, I sold that thing for like $80 within a matter of like a week. And I'm like, seriously, who would buy that thing?
I would.
You would?
Probably.
So would you alter it, or would you keep it the way it is?
There's a lot of altering, for sure. There was a DIY resurgence, like early, I don't know, like mid-early 2000s. I feel like 2005 is when people started sewing again. I have a sewing machine like back there in my room that I pull out every now and again. I'm like, how do I do this bobbin? But there is such a group of young women, especially teenagers, that go party, who want to wear the alternative. It's almost like a new punk movement, right? They kind of want to look weird. Like, it's kind of a thing. So you might look at something and be like, what the heck? But then there's some girl, like, at the club rocking that dress out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I do this on purpose, but seriously, I wear, like, the ugliest clothes.
I want to see what you're wearing right now.
Well, I'm wearing my Adidas. I don't know if you can see it. It says Boston Marathon. I think this one's from '98, but I got a few different ones. This one I like because it's like at nighttime it lights up. It's like glow in the dark. So, but I still want to support Boston tonight, since everybody knows I'm from Boston, and we actually won the 2024 bid to, I think, for the international bid for the Summer Olympics. So we go into, I guess it was like between DC, LA, and a few other places, and we beat them out. So now we got to go against like the international people. or the international venues, and hopefully we win that. And I don't know if Boston's traffic's ready for the Olympics, but I'd be excited to see that. That's something I'd go back to see.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. And I do Airbnb, and I wish that if Boston were to get the Olympic bid, I would have Airbnb because I would jack up my prices.
I don't know. I think it'd be awesome.
That's
Boston,
awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. I also want to discuss with you your I mean, seriously, you have such a successful blog, and I know you're in the middle of doing a different website too, correct? Because I saw that you have the Sammy D Vintage, and then you have like SammyD.tv. Now, are those interlinked, or those two different ones?
Right. Well, basically, like about 2 years ago, in the blossoming years of my 20s, and I say that tongue in cheek because I know a lot of people tuning in now are like, oh my God, you're such a baby. But, you know, we're always growing, right? I realized that I was more than just vintage and thrifting, and didn't want to, I guess, tunnel vision too much into fashion, especially because, you know, I want to be remembered for my mind and what I give. And so what I did is I relaunched on SammyD.tv, and my passion is inspirational speaking. Like, you know, I want to be traveling the country, speaking to people about secondhand, speaking to people about positive energy, speaking to people about, you know, doing their best at growing their business to help their families. Whatever it is that really speaks life to people. And why I've always liked thrifting, right, is that you could be someone at the poverty level who can go into a thrift store with some fashion sense, with some discipline, and literally recreate the image of themselves by what they can afford to buy. So if you're someone who, you know, is now putting on a suit from Goodwill every single day, who previously was wearing jeans and was working a minimum wage hour, that suit will change your mindset. If you look in the mirror every day and go, you know what, I'm wearing this suit, it only cost me $10, but I can walk into an office and I can have a 45K job a year if I want. I truly believe that, and I truly believe that fashion, it can begin with fashion. It doesn't have to begin with fashion. But for a lot of people who may be suffering in their mind, this helps. And so that's really why I stand for vintage and thrift, because it allows you to, without having to go spend all this money, and also be, you know, like told what to wear, because that's what society does in so many ways. It tells us what to do. You can go decide for yourself. So SammyD.tv, you know, it really represents now my foray into into a position as an inspirational speaker, a public speaker, an author, and most importantly, a TV show host, where I'm actually, as I was speaking to you about Piven, everyone say a prayer. I've been working with a wonderful production team on a TV show called Heydays Vintage, which I think is heydaysvintage.tv, and it's on Facebook if you want to go like the page. And it's all about people who love the vintage lifestyle across America. So think about like the people that are like living the jazz age, people who are like refurbishing, upcycling, upgrading vintage trailers. People who else have I interviewed? People who are burlesque dancers. Like whatever it is about the past, they're incorporating it into their modern lives. And so I've been working with this show as a host, as an anchor host, where I come on the scene and go, hey guys, so da-da-da-da-da-da-da, let's check it out. It's so light, it's so authentic, it's not Storage Wars. It's really just about people it's about all of us here. It's about all of us here who have this connection to the past, that hold on to it because it makes us feel good. So we're pitching that show right now. Literally 6 episodes have been developed that are, you know, in a computer right now, like ready to go to a TV, ready to go to, I don't know, like an airline station, the back of taxi cabs, wherever it's supposed to go. So cross your fingers, because all I want to do is stand for my passions in a big way, right? And we all here have big dreams, so whoever's watching, I support your big dreams too.
I think you hit the nail on the head. When you talk to me, I said right to you, I go, I'm not the person that walks the straight line like everybody else do, because I'm more the person that likes to zigzag. I'm the one that asks the questions. If someone says something if everybody agrees to something, like there's 10 people that agrees with something, I'm always looking for the reason why to disagree, and then
You
ask
did
that
say that.
question. Yeah, and then just have another train of thought, like in the thought process, like, oh well, he said this, maybe it's like this or whatever. But I am so different than anybody else. Like I told you, Cindy, that you'd meet. I think I'm just like a little ball of joy. I don't know if I came out correctly. Maybe a big ball of joy.
You're a little ball of joy.
I just feel like
Kevin.
I love talking to people. I love talking to people, but I also like touching their lives. Like I like to just sit there and like talk to them about, like you said, getting emotional and just being along in the process. And like you said, when I remember when the night I did the Halloween costume dress up we did for the hangout on the resellers meet and greet, I wore this gorgeous Hugo Boss suit that I actually just sold, and I wish I didn't sell it. I wish I kept it. But I mean, like you said, it gave me confidence. I felt like when I wore it, I felt like a different person. I felt like I could walk into a club and like be like, "Hey, everybody, what's going on?" and just be like the talk of the town. I don't know. I think clothing and fashion does give you some sort of confidence level that if you were wearing normal clothes and stuff like that, I think it'd be harder to attain and keep your confidence level up. It was weird. Before I started thrifting, I didn't care what I wore. Now that I started thrifting and I can actually hold these really nice pieces, Versace, Louis Vuitton, all of them, and it's like, man, I miss when I used to wear this stuff when I used to sell cars, because that's what I used to wear all the time, and because it gave me a huge confidence booster. Talking to other customers, wanting to buy cars and stuff, and it worked for me. I made really good money selling cars.
And yeah, and it was because of your energy. It was because you stood in your power as a person and created a level of trust. I would say that if you're a person-to-person seller, I used to run a vintage store in the Lower East Side on East Houston and East Houston? I believe East Houston and Avenue B in the Lower East Side, and so I was the full-time manager, and so I sold thrift clothes. Literally, you sold cars, I sold thrift clothes, face to face, and it really came down to just feeling good about myself, so that I could just be present with that person, and that is why it is important. I mean, a lot of us here work from home, and I'll be honest with you guys, like there's some days like I don't brush my teeth till 12. Like I'm just bam, okay? And then I'm like, okay, I've had 3 cups of coffee, I need to go. So it's important too that like as stay-at-home entrepreneurs that we take care of ourselves from a place of like, I'm actually going to probably do better work if I have an outfit on, if I've prepared myself for the day. But that's why I love this industry too, because again, like if you want to zigzag and like not work until 2 o'clock and work until 10 at night, I've definitely done that too. Everyone here who has families, everyone here who has side passions. I mean, the 9-to-5 guys, like I did it for 2 years and I quit. I was like, I can't do this. I can't sit here for 8 hours and then like 6 of the hours are just like monkey work doing nothing or meetings about like these big decisions that, So I applaud everyone here who's either in the position of a full-time reseller or stepping into that. No matter how hard it may feel some days, you got it good. Please. And that's what I get to remind myself too when I have those down days.
Yeah, I mean, my down days are crazy. When I get down, it gets a little hard. But I mean, it's all in how we all deal with it. Like you said, it's like trying to get back to your normal self as quick as you can. Because like I told you before, I have anxiety issues, and whenever I do a video or I'm getting ready to do a live video, I mean, it's a killer. And I do a thing, like I do like a little routine like I did for you before, Sammy, where I just jump in front of the TV, in front of the camera, I just jump up and down, just shake it off. Because that's my way of shaking everything from all the stress I've had all day into all the stress of putting together these videos. That's my way of shaking everything out and just getting into like my own character, back to my own self,
Right.
Because I think it's, like you said, if you can see emotion off of each other and you can feed off of positive energy, it's just only going to get better for everybody. Now, you also have done inspirational speaking with youth, correct? Inner city youth?
Yes. Yes. I worked with a wonderful nonprofit here in New York City called the Institute for American Values, and they worked with the John Templeton Foundation, which is a benefactor based out of Philadelphia, who supports the initiative of thrift. For those of you who are watching, thrift comes from the Latin root to thrive. Bet you didn't know that,
No.
or if you did, comment. And so what the Institute hired me to do was to create curriculum for inner city youth through a charter school called KIPP. It's actually a national charter school, to understand to understand how thrifting can become a part of their lives and to become more conscious consumers, and also to become more aware of upcycling, more aware of sewing, more aware of, honestly, just the fact that they don't have to own all of this stuff to be happy. So within here as well, because anyone here who have children have probably experienced their child going, I need this brand, Kim Kardashian did that, and da-da-da-da-da. I mean, I was there. I'm not going to lie. I needed Abercrombie & Fitch at age 13. And I lived in a small town, and Abercrombie & Fitch was 2 hours away. I didn't get it. It's a different day and age now because of the internet, but the pressure's still there. So we did such an amazing program. I would say we had 12 students this summer, so I did the program this summer, and maybe 8 had never been to a thrift store, but everyone was converted. And teenagers are they're very smart, and they really understood that for the longevity of their lives, that they get to invest in themselves. They get to invest in their financial future by turning to thrift whenever possible. And that's my whole platform as a human being on this planet, where, a lot of my Christmas gifts were thrifted. I do my best to go on eBay, to go on Amazon and buy from a small seller, to buy something secondhand. I was in Target the other day and I was in pain. I was like, I could probably, but I need it now. Just those little. So as much as we can teach our children and teach the world that, there are options to buy secondhand. There is a little bit more time in it, but if you take pride in it, most importantly, then you go, oh yeah, by the way, like, my couch was from Craigslist. There's my vintage hat box up there. I have a couple other secondhand things that I can't show you right now, but my belief is that our future generations will hopefully turn to secondhand first here. So almost like the organic food movement, where people think, okay, can I get it organic? Can I get it local? I want America to think, can I buy it secondhand?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, my son came in.
Hi.
He's had a rough last couple of weeks. He's been sick and everything. I guess he wanted to say hi. My girlfriend's out right now, so I'm the one watching him. But
what is his name?
His name is Dominic. He's 3 years old, and this kid, like, he is a bundle of joy. Like, my 3 kids are exactly like the spitting image of me. They're super off the wall, and they're really they're funny. They're super funny. Like, all day today, they're like, the thing was with them, like, they're hanging all over me trying to get me to snuggle with them, and I'm like, dude, I'm trying.
Oh, they love you. You love them.
It really is. It touches you. Like, when I play with them, it's like I look back when I was a little kid. I'm like, man, I'm glad I get the attention. I give my kids the attention that I never got growing up. So
right.
it's like I'm trying to show them, to love and everything like that. Although they like to hit each other and grab each other's toys, but it's the normal kid stuff. I mean, kids, these are the reason why I change. When I have Isabella, I promised myself that I made my bed, I have to sleep in it, and I've lived by that motto since I've had Bella. I mean, my sister, she has a tough time with her 3 kids, and I say to her, I go, I live by 3 things. So one thing, when I had Dominic, and it was a struggle because we didn't have much money, and it was always arguing stuff. He was a colicky baby, so every time I'd hold him, I said to myself, there's worse people out there than me. I can do
Right.
this. I can do this.
Right.
I know I can. And then my sister asked me, she goes, I don't know how you do it. And I said to her, I said one thing. I said to myself, I can do this. I know I can. There's worse people out there than me. I can do this. And it's been a blessing. And it's something that, it's inspirational. It's something that I taught myself. Nobody taught me that. And I mean, I know we're a little off subject, but I also want to talk about inspirational too. But
that may be all we need. Dominic, you are inspiration.
no, he really is. He's a good kid. He gets crazy at times, but he's a great kid. I wouldn't ask for any different kids. I really wouldn't. I love the situation I'm in. I'm glad we've been through the stuff we've been through because it made us a better people, you know?
Yes.
Now I want to talk to you about the book because we have 2 books we're going to be giving away. One is the new one, Love Your Life, and the other one is your older book, the Vintage Resell and Vintage. And
yes, 100 Best Vintage Shops Online, 2013. It's going on 2 years.
Yeah, that's why I said I've tried clicking some of the links on the stores you referred to, and some of them weren't even in business anymore. They are like the URLs weren't there.
Right.
But that's where you're gonna get it. Because businesses are always changing.
It's still an inspiration because the industry is always. My philosophy is there's enough for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Well, there
There's
is
enough for everyone. It just depends on how you position your share. And online vintage sellers who specialize in vintage, I mean, I'm talking like everything that they do is about vintage. They find their own, kind of way to influence their consumer. Obviously, like type of photography, how they describe the garment in the listing. And when we're selling online, that all means something because the consumer is either going to be like, I want it or I don't want it. And there's going to be that split moment decision, and it might be influenced by, just how the garment's worn on the model in terms of styling. So these are the creme de la creme. The ones who still remain in the book are the creme de la creme who have honestly created fashion brands out of garments of the past.
Yeah. And I've seen plenty of the haul videos where people they're not even reselling, they just do the haul videos so they can just mix and match. And I think that's so cool. And it's different because these are actually people that are buying our clothes and just mix and match them and making them fashionable again, like reusing them and stuff like that, which I think is really cool. It takes a lot of creativity to do stuff like that. And I think that's also creative in a creative way, because I think what we do also is creative with our listings, our keyword in, and everything like that. I'm not good with the keyword on vintage clothes, so I'll sit there, I'll buy an awesome dress I know will go for good money, and then I'll go over it, and then if I don't know the keywords, I'll ask like Brianna or Linda, who we've both interviewed, Linda Patino,
Yes.
Which we both absolutely love her. And but no, she'll help me with the keyword, and that's awesome because sometimes they come back to me and ask me, hey, what do you think? What would you use for keywording for this? So it's always like one hand helps the other.
Right. And the beauty of vintage is that when someone finds a piece from you, they love it.
Yeah.
It's not, your normal like black T-shirt.
Yeah.
This or your Boston Marathon jacket that you love.
Yep. Now, is that the hat that you were wearing in the video a few days ago?
Which video? I posted many.
You were in a thrift store a few days ago, and you had a hat just like that on.
I probably was wearing. I have 3 vintage fuzzy hats, which the keyword search for that. And whenever someone asks me or someone says to me, "I love your hat," I go, "If you want one, go on eBay and type in Russian furry hat." I swear to you, Russian is the keyword. Like, it's the best. It returns the most results.
Yeah.
So this one is actually from Russia, and it has the ear flaps. See?
Yeah.
There you go.
Mine does too.
Right?
I love it. It has a flap that I don't even use.
I can't hear you. And then I have some, like, big fuzzy ones, but in general, vintage hats are so much fun. This is an ostrich feather hat from the 60s
Yep.
that I purchased on eBay for $20. And as I was telling you before, I mean, I want more consumers to know this, but you know, like, hats are awesome, first of all, but there aren't milliners, there aren't modern milliners. I could be ignorant, I don't know, who are famous today. Like, I can't name drop a hat maker that's awesome. But obviously before the 80s, hats were everything. So you go on eBay or you go on Etsy, and I paid a pretty penny for some of them. I think this is from the 40s. You know, this is maybe like it would cost $40. But if you get like a Schiaparelli, if you're knowledgeable, you know, a Schiaparelli I would pay for. You know, that's collector. A couple other brands I can't name drop at the moment. They're slipping my mind. But this is like a nice little like 60s like day hat, kind of fabulous. I wear this stuff, and I live in New York City, so I have that advantage. But people will talk to me on the street about my hat, and I love that. And I just think it's really special. So I know that the hat industry in vintage is actually raging. There are a couple of sellers in my book. I forget the one who's she does a very, very good job. She has red hair. She's on Etsy, but she's down south, and I think she was just buying estates of hats, and the hats are crazy. And you know, she sells to films, she sells to celebrities, she sells to magazines, because again, like, if you want a hat like this, like, I'm sure this is a pretty penny, so why not buy it vintage, especially if you work in the fashion industry. So if I were to go back into vintage, I would do all hats. I think I would do all hats and accessories, to be honest with you.
That red one you had up, can you show it again? Yeah, that one. That one looks like the one in the Great Gatsby movie, the new one with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Right. Right. It looks like a 20s hat, but it's not. Because they wouldn't have put, do you see the size?
Yes.
They wouldn't have put the size in. There's little things with tags that really give evidence, and I know a couple of my articles on eBay are linked below in the comments, and one of them is dating vintage clothing. It's still a very general article, but it will help you to kind of start to understand, because there's a lot of new, like, hello, someone in the background, yeah. There's a lot of nuances that you pick up that I don't even know about. But once you get a foundation, then you know where to explore.
It's
so yeah, so that's that book. And then should we talk about this one?
Yes, let's talk about the new one.
Ah, that's me on the cover. Yeah. So I released this book, and you know, you really hit the nail on the head, Kevin, where, you know, in life, sometimes we need a motivation, and children are wonderful motivation because the love that we have for them empowers us. It empowers us to literally just be like, you know what, like, this isn't even about me. So I'm not going to get all concerned about me. I'm doing it for them. So whether you have children or not, you know, we all deserve to feel like there's something to work for, so that when we're at those low points because things aren't working, or even things are working and we're still like depressed for no reason. I know we've all been there, especially when it's winter. But this is a book particularly about staying in a place of positive energy, and also realizing where you might be kind of keeping, like, you may be your own worst enemy. I know we've heard this all before, but the book is 7 Secrets Using the Power of Positive Thinking and Law of Attraction to Create the Dream Life for You. So what it is, basically, is 7 chapters that dive into different components of positive energy, and this, like, the workbook, you can actually write in it. So I'm just trying to show everyone out there watching that there's lines. And for example, this is an exercise about seeing your thoughts. Hi, Dominic. Dominic has pure thoughts, right? When we're children, first of all, we're not thinking much, but we're thinking basic. As we become adults, our thoughts are da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So some of us here might relate when I say the first thing you think about when you wake up in the morning is something that's stressing you out. That's not the way of being that you have to be on this planet. But it does take reprogramming the mind. So this is an exercise about how to see your thoughts, where I literally ask readers to sit with themselves. I know it sounds strange, for 5 to 10 minutes and just kind of see what thoughts come up. And you may notice, oh, I'm putting a lot of energy into something that I don't need to put energy into. But once you have the awareness, which is what you were talking about, Kevin, about your anxiety, you create tools for yourself to shift out of it. So for a long time, I used to have stress about money, you know, and I know that a lot of us here are familiar with the law of attraction, and that's pretty much what the book is supporting, but it's not directly about financial law of attraction. But when I started to change the way that I looked at my capacity to create a flow of money toward me, a flow of money happened. So for everyone here who is selling online, when you stay in those thoughts of, all of my buyers send back my packages, what do you think you're attracting towards you? And yes, that might be the truth right now, but it doesn't have to be the truth. And when you literally change the energy inside of you, you look at the world differently, and the world shows up differently. So call it magic, call it hype, whatever, it works, and it's worth trying. So the book, it's a lot more than just the law of attraction. It's really about how you feel about yourself, most importantly. So for anyone here who's interested, I know we're doing a giveaway. Kevin, should we talk about the giveaway?
Yes. On the Thrifting Lounge is a post I recently posted within an hour ago, within 45 minutes ago, where to win the book, the Love Your Life book, you've got to go to the
and the 100 Best Vintage Shops Online.
For both of them, yes. Go to Thrifting Lounge and give us your email. There's a post that says, in order to win Sammy's book, give us your email. And then from there, we're going to, at like 9:30, in about 15 minutes here, we're going to start doing the stuff for our contest and giving away everything. I mean, I got Travis from the Midwest e-commerce convention that I will be speaking at in July. I will be giving away a ticket, which is like a $250 value ticket, to go to that conference and see me guest speak, see Mark from Bubblefast guest speak, see the Gilmans, who I'm dear friends with, and I will be doing a vlog throughout the course of the weekend that we're guest speaking. So we're going to go there, we're going to thrift our clothes, we're going to vlog everything, we're going to, you know, Snapchat, whatever we have to do to get the word out there and see that we're all having a good time. Because I think there's a lot of things people are missing is these e-commerce conventions, because I think they're kind of motivational speaking also. And you also get to like meet and greet everybody else too, which I'm very, very excited to go out and to do. So I'll be giving away a ticket to that at the end of the show, and we also will be giving the random winner away for the books. And I also have Mark from Bubblefast jumped on board with us. And so from now on, whenever I do these videos, the interviews, I will be giving away either products from him from Bubblefast, or we'll be giving away $25 gift certificates from Bubblefast. And tonight is going to be the first night we start doing that too. So I've never done contests much. I think I've only done like 2 contests before, let alone 3 contests in one night, which is humongous for me. And I'm so stoked to have people that actually believe in me to do this stuff, to put this stuff out there in the contest, because I think contests are fun, and it's always better to have people involved, other people involved, and not just talking about thrifting, but other things like motivational and about our everyday life, because I think that's very important. A lot of people don't talk about what we do behind the scenes, which is kind of really important, because with your kids and your family, you wouldn't have enough time to do what we do. So I schedule my stuff around my kids and my girlfriend's work. And so how do you schedule your stuff? Like when you do your scheduling, whether it's thrifting or your TV show or your blog, what is a day in a life for Sammy D?
That's a great question. That's a great question. The way that I'm looking at my life is goals and intentions. So I have an intention to serve, and I have a goal to create abundance, to create financial currency, right, through a specific avenue. So those are things that I'm constantly working on because I'm on this path and growing. And then there's obviously the day-to-day things where, you know, I write full-time for a living. I'm a full-time Airbnb host. I run a website that I monetize. I do various things. But when it comes to, and I know I'm not the only one because we all do various things, So what it comes down to is kind of taking a Stephen Covey, the 7 rules of highly effective people approach, where over the weekend I think ahead to my week. I use my calendar on Google. If anyone here is not familiar with their Google Calendar, it's awesome. And I say, okay, I have all this stuff going, but like, what are my big projects of the week that I have to get done? So someone tuning in might be like, okay, I have to go thrifting every Wednesday at Salvation Army. Duh, it's half off day. But then how am I going to inventory everything? Okay, that's going to happen Thursday morning. And like, you schedule blocks and you say nothing prevents this from happening. But then there's kind of like at night, right? So tonight I will get out a notebook, right? So here's my crazy to-do list today. A lot of it's little things because it's a new year and I have little things to do. But I will write out literally the things I think I need to do. This doesn't always happen. I'll rewrite it. So I'll open up a new page and be like, realistically, what can I really do? Because I think a lot of us still, as entrepreneurs, think that we have more time in the day than we really do. That seems to be like the number one thing that we all share. So I rewrite it by priorities, and I try to do priorities before I'm going to get distracted, which could be the internet, which could be, you know, if I had children, could be my children. If there's a sports game on, because Kevin, I know you love sports, could be that game. So in the sense that the schedule is always changing, there's still this, you know, sticky glue that holds it all together, where every single week I am committed to growing my goals and my intentions as well. So, for example, I've been setting forth the intention to have more speaking engagements. So I've been reaching out to people. I just booked one for March 1st in Connecticut. Woo! I'm creating my sizzle reel. For those of you familiar, there'll be a nice 2-minute video of Sammy D, da-da-da-da-da-da, so that I can pitch to other opportunities. I'm getting back on YouTube.
Yes.
Talk about thrift and vintage and inspiration. And guess what? I'm going to do it at the YouTube studios here in New York. So you'll be seeing more hats, and maybe some of you can come on, and or I'll shout out to you. I don't know. The future is bright, but we all have big goals, and what's important basically when it comes to scheduling is continuing to invest in our big goals. So I know, like Kevin, you and I talked about some of your mentees who, like, they're doing okay, but they could do better. So, like, what is your big goal to do better, and how are you going to apply that to your life? Do you want to list 10 more garments a week? Where is that going to fall into the cracks? If you don't schedule it, you don't do it. I'm sorry. You end up washing the dishes. I mean, guilty as charged.
I've done that so many times. So many times.
So, and I do feel that, you know, as this coach, I'm not officially a coach, but accountability partners are everything. So anyone who's here watching who either has an accountability partner, whether it's declared or not, or doesn't, think about getting one. You know, tell someone your goal and tell them, you hold me accountable, because I need someone to whoop my butt if I don't. Because again, we're staying at home. We don't have this like manager that's like breathing down our neck. I remember when I had one, and he was only 2 years older than me, and it was quite threatening. So we need to be our own bosses, but we are here as a community to support one another. And like you said, Kevin, what I love about the internet is it enables a social community that's authentic. We're not walking into a job like, I can't talk about getting, you know, drunk Saturday night, but that's all I really want to talk about because it was great. You know, we have the liberty of truly being ourselves within reason, and not that we want to push anything too far, but we can have fun. And to continue to have fun with what we're doing is the positive energy that will keep us moving forward. Yeah. Or we would just have a job that gives us a paycheck when we take a week off to go to Turks and Caicos. Yeah. But I don't want that. I mean, maybe you do. I don't. You know, I'm going to Thailand in April, and the only reason I can do that is because of this life that I've built for myself. So keep building. There are frightening moments when you're stepping into it. You know, I've been there. I've lived in New York for 7 years, and you know, two of those years I made less than $30,000, and I didn't do anything, and I didn't date. I was younger, so it was okay, but also when you're younger, you want to go do those things. But working through that made me a stronger person. So anything that you're overcoming right now is making you stronger and making you understand who you truly are inside, which is a very, very strong spirit born onto this planet.
I mean, you totally hit the nail on the head. I totally believe everything you just said because it's happened to me so many times over and over again. And it's just sometimes it is hard to motivate yourself, but great motivations when you sell 3, 4, 5 items a day, and it's like, yeah, I got to replace those 5 items with 5 more listings, which is awesome. So it's like that gives me motive. That's how I motivate myself. When I start seeing stuff consistently sell, I'm like, man, I got to start getting more listings up. I mean, I have huge goals for this year. I tend to, I don't know about you, I'd like to get your input on this. I tend to set goals that are attainable but are really, really high.
Gotcha.
Like last year, I think my goal was like 25,000 my first year, and a certain amount of items I sold, and I did it, and I did the 25,000, but there was a couple I didn't do. But then I'm like, okay, well I'm going to do this next year because I already had those goals this year, and I think I can hit them next year if I already have these set up really well into going to the new year. What's your input on that?
I love that. I absolutely love that. I think that number one, being specific is the most important thing, not only in goal setting, but the law of attraction. So if you're like, I am attracting 25 sales this week, that is going to give you the motivation to even understand how many listings do you need to have 25 sales. What has been successful for you so that you can be like, okay, 80-20 rule. I know 80% of my sales come from blah, blah, blah. So I'm, again, I'm going to go for the gold. I'm going to go for the gold. And you still want to have that kind of buffer area where you're experimenting. What's hard in the path, obviously, is when you first start selling, when you first start anything, you're just experimenting. But you keep going, and you just notice what works, and keep doing what works. And again, keep asking people for support. Don't let yourself be low by yourself. Number one rule, don't let yourself be low by yourself, because you will stay low. Like you said, Kevin, some of us here may be like very, very happy with our income, so maybe very, very happy with the time spent in that. So it might be, I still want to make this amount of money, but have more time for my family. So what can I do to streamline that? Because I've learned so much. So there's different goals to continue to set to challenge yourself. But at the end of the day, you're right. It's only as far as you set the bar, and to an extent, how much time you're willing to invest, because what you give attention to grows. So if you're giving more attention to Facebook than your listings, your Facebook community, your Facebook popularity is going to grow, because that's what I do.
Yeah.
But your listings aren't, so you might think it's helping you. So these are just really important questions to ask yourself. Where am I investing my time? I have to ask myself that all the time, because I'm a very social person. Again, you get to be your own best boss and almost give yourself like an annual review. Like, what did Kevin do to reach his goal for the year? Did he really, And don't hate on yourself, but just go, okay, all right, I'm motivating myself to do it differently.
Yeah.
And for anyone here who's been on a diet or a fitness plan, it's the same stuff. It's across the board. It's the same mindset and the same application of behaviors.
And what I noticed that when I start getting into a routine, it only takes me 3, 4, 5 days till I'm like, okay, that's good. I got this routine down. Whether it's I start work at 9 o'clock or 11 o'clock, but I get my stuff done by 2 or 3 or 4.
That's awesome.
I've been able to consistently do that from like the past 3 months, and I've seen myself grow as a person. And I've been able to bang out listings. Like the more I'm putting out listings, the more it becomes second nature. Where it's like your routines, from the keyword in to like copy and paste in your description, stuff like that. Like I've got it down like really well. When I first started, ask everybody else, it was like a half-hour listing. It took me a while.
Right.
But I was also doing Photoshop, so I was also Photoshop in the background, though, which was a huge hassle.
Yeah.
Now,
And you do, you know, with anything, it's like we're just really talking about like productivity here, but you have to look at what are my resources as a human. Like I really do that sometimes too because I'm all about excellence, and sometimes, you know, it's not about being a perfectionist, obviously, but excellence can still kind of like it takes up a lot of time. So you think to yourself, okay, you know, do I have an intern? Do I outsource some stuff? There's a lot of websites that help you, you know, like design even things for your shop. Fiverr.com is a great website if you've never heard of it. You can have anything designed for $5. But yeah, you know, my whole platform is like do what you can with what you have now and continue to learn what you need to learn to grow it. But at the end of the day, we can only work so many hours in a day. And as you said about being productive from 11 to 2 or from 9 to 2, that's awesome. Because then you have the rest of the day to be here. And then you can, like the next day, and you're not spreading it out across the whole day, which again, I've totally been guilty of.
because when I first started, I was doing too much of the eBay, I felt, and it was messing with my personal life.
Right.
But it's an addiction. When you first start and you start selling consistently like a bunch of stuff, it becomes an addiction. And it's like, oh, I gotta keep listing this. I gotta buy this stuff. I gotta list it, you know, right away. But it gets to the point where you gotta schedule your time because if you're cutting out certain part of your time, then you're cutting time out for your family, for your kids, you know, stuff that you should also be doing to make you a better person as a father or as a friend or as a companion. I've noticed that when I first started, I was like obsessed with listing, and now it's gotten where I've calmed down with it. I know I need to do my work, and I read my own paycheck week to week, you know. So if I want to list a amount of items a week, I'm gonna make that money. If not, then I don't need to list anything, you know. So
Right.
A good example. Yeah, it's good to get a break and sometimes get away for a few days, because that way you can reconnect with your thoughts and what you want to do, and you can get back to it full force, coming back into it.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, yeah, it's so funny because these are conversations that so many people have in the corporate world because that can be a job where you work if you don't have a family. And it's the same when you're working for yourself. And there is a trust. There is a trust that, you know, yes, I'm going to keep growing. Do I have to be a race car in the racetrack right now? You know, you're going to work through the fuel really fast. And I've totally been there. It's definitely part of my growth as a single young woman who can create all the time in the world that she wants to be like, I don't need to worry about that now. It's going to come to me. It's going to come to me. That huge haul that's going to make $10,000, I'm going to get a phone call one day. I don't have to like sit here and try to make $10,000 in a month. Like and that's the law of attraction. So you stay in that energy of like it's gonna be easy, but right now I'm just working on understanding how to get there in a way that's balanced. So anyway, Kevin, I know we've been talking for almost 45 minutes now. Is there anything else that we wanna review?
I think good. I'm ready to start doing these contests. I think I know we have a show. I didn't know we scheduled the same night. I know it's on Thursday. Good thing we scheduled an hour, and this is just off the top of our head. We didn't even know. We scheduled an hour before the Collector's Catacomb, which I was on a few weeks ago. And it's all about collecting stuff.
Nice.
But they usually hop on at 9:30 on their channel, and so I want to do these. I want to do the contest, and then have your last thoughts and where you see yourself this year. And save that for last so that we can go off the air. But I say we start with these contests. It was so stressed. Like I was telling you today, I'm so stressed out. I've never done all these contests at once, and I'm like,
abundance for everybody.
Yes, everybody needs to try these contests. Now, for the let's do yours first. So if you guys last minute, I'll give you guys a 3-minute warning. All right, you got to go over to the Thrifting Lounge. and then you need to go into it says, my post says, if you want to win a copy of Sammy Davis's Love Your Life ebook and the other book you have going. And I also gave the link to the Amazon book in case you don't win, you can go and purchase it there also. And if you write your email on there, and we just pick a random guess, a random winner from there. And I'm gonna see if. Hold on a second. Oh, great time for my Facebook to start messing up, huh?
Haha.
It's always that way.
Too many pings.
Yeah, I'm one with like 100 tabs always open. I don't know why.
Okay. To everyone who's still tuning in, Kevin has been sharing with me, blah, blah, blah. I'm like this, blah, 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 blah. And I go to him, what's your astrology sign? And he didn't respond, so I'm like, okay, like a typical man, he doesn't know his sign. And I said, when's your birthday? And he said February 24th. And I'm like, of course, you're a Pisces. I'm a Pisces. You go like this. You kind of like, which is why I'm very proud to hear that you're listing and working from 9 to 2, because that's not a typical Pisces behavior. You have grown, my friend.
It took me a while, but I'm to the point where I just relax now and do it. It's just that simple. It really is. And I'm trying to figure out if, where is it? I can't even find it. I thought I posted it. All right. Let me go back up. Well, no wonder why I have 19 notifications. That might help. On your post, 16 others. Oh, here we go. All right, we have a bunch of people. Okay, so I'm gonna do a random. There's like 20 people on there.
No way.
And just to let everybody know that's watching right now, there's 2 books. It's not 1 book. It's 2 books. It's the older one, which is the vintage clothing. How to tell. I think it's like 100. Where to buy 100. What's the title of your first book?
I know, it's a long one. The 100 Best Vintage Shops Online. Yeah.
And you also go through, though, like what you can tell set apart that's vintage and not. Because that was a huge reference book when I started. Was I'd flip through it and I'd read the sections that I felt would help me. You're welcome. And I've picked up a couple Lily Pulitzer stuff that if I didn't know that what was vintage, I would never grabbed it. And that was thanks to your book, so it already paid it for itself. It's that book and Love Your Life, which is a motivational, I would say self-help, right?
Yeah, it's a self-help book, and what's really beautiful about it, especially, is if you have like a teenager in your life or a college student, it's perfect for that demo. It's absolutely perfect. And if you're the winner, I think we're declaring 2 winners, and so we'll decide how to do that, or Kevin, you'll decide. But whoever wins Love Your Life, you'll be getting it from Kindle or from Amazon, so you can read it on your Kindle or on your iPad, but you can also open it up on your desktop as well. So if you don't have a Kindle or an iPad, you can still read it.
And how much is the Love Your Life and the vintage one, just in case, so everybody knows?
Right now I have Love Your Life as a Kindle book only 99 cents. It's normally $3.99. And the vintage book is $5.99, and that is on Etsy, and I think you might have linked to it as well.
I have the link, right? I think it's underneath I'll put it in the description afterwards.
Yeah, it's totally cool. I can post tomorrow because, like you said, it is out of date. However, it's always good to understand, because I'll just say really, really fast that the 100 Best Vintage Shops Online was a 5-month process. I actually created a rating system. I emailed every single seller to interview them. I emailed every single seller to get their permission to use the photos. I went off social media for 6 weeks to write the book. That was around this time last year, and I released it in March of 2013. So it was a huge, huge endeavor. I have a degree in journalism, so it wasn't difficult in understanding what to do, but it was an investment, and I'm very proud of it. So whatever shops remain, you will glean insight from, I promise you. And all I want is for everyone here to make a living at what they love.
There we go. Sorry, I kept having to mute myself because I have background noise. My girlfriend or friends are here. But I mean, as we speak, we keep getting people. We're still getting people with the emails.
Oh my God!
What you do is hold off on that. Go back to that last. What we'll do is we'll give away the gift certificate. It's $25 to Bubblefast. Thank Mark from Bubblefast for being the sponsor for tonight to do that. I mean, seriously, that's huge for me, and I hope it sends some customers to Bubblefast because I know that's who I buy all my stuff from. Bubble wrap, I think they have the Scotty peelers too, which a lot of people, it's popular in the reselling community.
Awesome.
And let's do that right now. What we're going to do is in the comment section of our video, the YouTube video, I'm going to do I'm going to pick a random number so nobody knows I'm lying or anything. I'll do a screen share. Screen share right here. Random number. Here we go. Let me know if you see that up.
I see your screen share. It's loading. For me, okay. It just shows a white box.
You see it?
All I see is a white box right now. I don't see YouTube.
Okay, all right, so let me do something. Present to everyone. Right?
Okay, yeah, that just changed. Let me see. I'm not sure. It's just a white box.
Yeah, stop, and then, see, I haven't done screen sharing in a while, so let's try this one. How about now?
Crossing fingers, expect greatness.
I have no clue what's going on with this thing. So you know what I'm going to have to do?
Let me still hear you.
All right, you can see. Now can you see me? No.
I can't see it. Wait. I see the Thrifting Lounge.
This happens all the time with my camera. I mean, we had this problem before I even came on.
That's beautiful.
All right. So what we'll do is the random.org. I'm going to do it. I think we should have around 60 comments by now. So.
Oh my goodness! Thank you, everyone. Thank you. In the meantime, because I'm not sure if people are seeing you, Kevin, I'm going to show my obsession in the vintage art world, and y'all going to be like, of course. Oh, we see you now. But I'll show you really fast. I'm obsessed with Peter Max. He was an artist who became popular in the 70s for psychedelic-influenced art. People think that he was the artist behind the Beatles movie. I'm blanking on the name. It might be Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club. Or no, wait. This.
Is it
gosh, you can tell that I wasn't born in that era, but he's an amazing artist. And I bought these off eBay.
And they're all original?
No, they're just prints. If they were originals, they would be money.
Yeah.
Something to know. Something to know. Peter Max. But he became an artist who, because of his style and his popularity, he was commissioned by corporations to design. So General Electric, those were Southern Comfort, SoCo designs. I can't think of anyone else, but that's where he made the bulk of his money, is because he designed for corporations who needed him in their advertising. And he's still alive today and lives in New York City.
That's cool. Have you actually met him or anything?
It's a dream of mine. I have a friend who has met his wife.
Really?
So that could be an episode on YouTube. If I can get Peter Max. It's also, that's something that would interest me for Heydays Vintage, would be to go to his home, because I'm assuming his home is just covered in art. I mean, that would be the ideal, right? So it's like the Peter Max land, and just talk to him about his inspiration, and also really talk to him about like what his art stood for in the period, because if I may be incorrect, but I think that his art became popular around the era of Vietnam. So his art was so happy and so optimistic. So that was such a contrast to everything else that the nation was experiencing at the time. So I love history. I'm a history geek
I'm the
like
same.
that. I know you are. We all are out there.
When I was younger, I think that's why I like doing what we do, is because we watched the History Channel back when it was
Right, me
actually
too.
on history. Now it's totally like TV shows. But everybody else
I
we
know,
watch
they're selling out, man.
crazy. Everything's like TV shows, like trying to make a quick buck with ratings and stuff. I miss like the old history shows and
I
stuff.
know.
I'm not interested anymore. Our society's always changing.
It's okay because this is great content for the people right here.
Oh, exactly. That's why they come to us, I guess. But all
So
right.
who's the winner?
I'm trying to get there right now. It is comment number 54.
54!
So comment number 54. Let me go down from the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Fighting for you. No, 54, we're fighting you.
Whatever, you're my sister. No, it's not the house.
50 would be Darlene C. She's the winner of the $25 gift certificate from Bubblefast for packing supplies and everything like that. So, Darlene C., can you add me on Facebook and send me your email, and I'll give you the code to the $25 gift certificate to Bubblefast. Again, thank you, Mark from Bubblefast, for doing that contest for us. And so I guess we're ready for the. I think we should do your contest now, and then finish up with the $250 ticket to the conference
Yeah,
in July.
I want to win that.
I have no problem with having anybody winning it. But all I do ask is, if you do win it, please go.
Please don't stay at home.
Yeah, please don't stay at home. Please come and go, because I know there's other people in here that would love to go, but jump into the opportunity to go and mingle and watch all of us, me and the Gilmans, and Mark from Bubblefast speak. So let's do.
Let's do it.
All right. So now let's do a random. Let's do.
You do
all right.
that, and I'll show off my 1920s
Exactly.
yearbook.
That's awesome.
How does that sound, Kevin?
That sounds perfect.
Sounds awesome. Okay.
I have a lot of background.
Everyone here knows the story of going through a dead man's closet. That's what I call it. Yeah, right. I literally actually once sat in the offices of a production company and pitched them that idea of a reality show called Dead Man's Closet. Because I, in the past, was actually cast for a reality TV show that actually didn't end up airing. Thank you, God, because you all would have hated me. Anyway, long story short, Dead Man's Closet, a friend of the family's father passed away, and I was able to go through his whole estate. And he kept his mother's yearbook from the 1920s. So this is a 1920s yearbook, and it's not even... It's my school day autobiography. That's what they called it. So something I'm holding right now is 80 plus years old. And what they did is they put everyone's name and address at the very beginning, although I don't... Yeah, I see addresses. This was from Newark, Delaware. For anyone tuning in, I'm originally from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And then you would just write on the paper. And it's really funny. It's from 1928. It's really funny to read what people wrote, because they would write poetry and almost like motivational phrases that, I mean, again, like it had meaning to them, but to me, I'm kind of like, really? So again, as Resale Ronan said, if there were no history, there would be no vintage. So I'm going to read this one out loud. Her name was Caressa, by the way. Caressa, we are honoring you in this moment. Dear Caressa, true friends are like diamonds, precious and rare. False ones, like autumn leaves, found everywhere. How about that? So basically, and that was from your sister Ethel. That was from Ethel to Caressa. So she's telling Caressa, you know, to remember that you'll actually have less true friends than real friends, which is always a hard thing to acknowledge, but, you know, to really foster a relationship takes time and energy and commitment. So let's see what other goodies. Oh, guys want to freak out? I mean, you've all freaked out about stuff like this, so you're not going to freak out, but there's a little dried rose in there. Ah, it just fell. The rose of the 20s just fell in my mouth. I'm sorry, Chris. Guys, I'm going to have, like, nightmares tonight because Caressa's rose just fell into my mouth.
Yeah.
Moving on. Oh my gosh, see, this is why I was destined for.
See what happens if you get two of us together?
I'm sorry, Kevin?
See what happens if you get two of us together? It's non-stop laughing.
Dude. I mean, I told you I'm taking a road trip this summer. I'm basically, you were talking about my goals. Like, I have goals, but one of my goals is to do some things in my 20s before before too much time passes and I really say I can't do it, because I can. But I'm traveling to Thailand for at least 2 weeks in April, and then probably end of June, end of July, I'm going to finally drive across the country, which is something I've been wanting to do since I was 23 years old. And as you and I, Kevin, were talking about, my plan is to thrift across the country and to sell on eBay and to raise money for a nonprofit of my choice. So my goal is to visit thrift stores in South Dakota, I want to go to South Dakota, Kansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, all these places,
don't forget Florida.
and be on a podcast with you.
Yes.
Hopefully,
yes.
sharing the stories of what I find. And just meeting people around the way, because, you know, something I've realized about my life is I was born in the Northeast, and you know, with the exception of a small stint in LA, which is still an urban city. I mean, it's Los Angeles, you know. I haven't really experienced America, and I want to be put in the most uncomfortable situations as possible. Like, I want to talk to people. So I know that there will be some really interesting situations at thrift stores if I go into there with the intention of meeting people. And finding treasures, obviously. Finding things that I can expect, but I don't know what they will be. So let's see. Kevin, how are you doing over there?
I'm doing perfect. So we have 22 entrants, and so pick a number, 1 to 22. I'll have you pick the number.
Oh,
Random.
16.
Okay, let's go down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay. This is the problem. I'm trying to recount. All right. You keep talking. I'm going to recount, and I'll let you know what the winner is.
Okay. I get to talk some more. Yay! So, okay, let's read some more from Caressa. Let's see. Ooh. This is a goodie. Okay. Someone out there needs to hear this. When you are angry, pretend you are a bird and just sing a little, but don't say a word. Advice from the 20s, ladies and gentlemen, on anger.
Dude, that's actually a pretty good quote, and that's like somebody's. That's so strange.
I mean,
put so much effort into a yearbook back then.
You know, this has me thinking, like, I want to push myself for a show where I just live the era, right? So there are bloggers who have done this, but, like, I just live the 60s way and make people as uncomfortable as possible. Because I'm speaking like the 60s, I'm eating like the 60s, I'm dressing like the 60s. It reminds me of that movie, not Pleasantville, but it was another one where I think Brandon, someone out there's going to know it. He comes back. His parents fear nuclear war, and they go underground. And then like 20 years later, or 30 years later, he comes above ground because he needs to get food and realizes like life, like this world isn't the world I was raised in, which is the 60s. And he meets Alicia Silverstone. Do you know this movie, Kevin?
No, but I know exactly what you're thinking of because I've seen it.
Anyway, I watched that movie. That would be like me, where I'd be like, Legally Blonde.
No, that's not Legally Blonde.
That's
No.
with Reese Witherspoon.
Alicia Silverstone.
Clueless.
No, not Clueless.
Give us a hint.
No, we already did. It was where she. Explain it again for my girlfriend. She was trying to hear.
So, it's Brandon. This is, if I knew the lead's name, you would know, but he comes back. You know, it's too complicated. I'll look it up and put it in the thrifting.
Yeah.
Who won?
All right, so who won was Carol Dombrowski Henderson.
Carol!
You are the winner. Yes. And I already have your email, so I will be emailing you the code. Or if you want to Facebook message me, I'm going to add you, Carol, as a friend right now. Accept it so I can send you a private message with the code for the $25 gift certificate to Bubblefast.
Oh, no. She gets the books.
Oh, sorry, the books. I already did the Bubblefast one.
She gets the books.
I said to myself, I'm like, no, we already did the Bubblefast, yeah.
Awesome.
So,
and then let's get the $250 gift certificate because I got a piece.
Yes, I hear you. I do too, man. I have like food waiting for me in the back. So the grand prize, the $250 one, I'm gonna do a random. Actually, pick a number one. Do this. Pick a number 20 through 50. Between those, 20 through 50.
27.
27. All right. Now you got number 27 will be the winner, and you win the two. It's equals up to be $250 for your entry. So when you go, you take your. I don't know if it's local or not, but when you get there, it doesn't cost you a thing to come into the conference. All you got to pay for is your flight and your hotel, which I think there's also codes for the hotel to get a certain percentage off. Also, Travis Barrett. If you need more information, I can get it from Travis Barrett for hotel information, stuff like that. And who knows, maybe you can go thrifting with me too if you show up. With me and the Gilmans, maybe that'll help. You guys can pick out the gift, the thrifting clothes that me and the Gilmans will be wearing when we speak at the conference. That would be cool. So what was the number again? 27.
27.
Yes. All right. And the winner looks like Holland Hobbies.
Who is it?
Is that right, Holland Hobbies? It looks like it.
Holland Hobbies! Woo!
I didn't count my because I see a bunch of posts that we did, so I didn't count those. I was just counting the people besides us that did it and the double posting. So Holland Hobbies, you won it, bro. And I'm good friends with Matt Holland, so if he doesn't message me, I will message him. And this will be awesome for Holland Hobbies because he'll actually, if he's able to go with us to the thrift store and pick out the clothes for me, I know that, and then maybe if the Gilmans are on board, the clothes the Gilmans can wear too. And it has to be professional looking kind of, but he gets to pick it out for me, so definitely. And I'll talk with the Gilmans to see if they're down with that too, which I'm sure they'll be fine with, but it's up to them. Again, thank you guys very much. Holland Hobbies, I will be getting a hold of you. Darlene, I already got your message, and then Carol, get a hold of me so I can send you the books. Get your email so I can send you the books for the for Sammy Davis's books. Now I want you to sign us off with what your big goals are for this year.
Right. Thank you for that. My big goal, number one, is loving life. Always loving life, always being grateful, always being positive for what I have, and standing in abundance now. Number two, my goal is to be the highest paid motivational speaker under the age of 30. And so I am stepping forward in public speaking opportunities, which I've already yielded, but continuing to step forward and receiving financial compensation for that. So that's, you know, a big difference between speaking for free and getting paid. And number three is relaunching my platform on YouTube, where I wish to add entertainment, positivity, knowledge, education to your news feeds every week from the YouTube studio. And I would say, like, number four, number five, as I've expressed already here, is adding value to your life through myself experiencing the world. So in my travels, these are goals for me as a human. These are goals that I want to tackle right now. Not even tackle, but enjoy and create content that comes back to you, that makes you feel good, that inspires you, that gives you a little spark to do what it is that is your passion. So those are my goals. I mean, quite honestly. And then, you know, just being present, right? And I know that we all here have had our ups and downs in life, and some of us have been tested more than others, but understanding that it's all for our inner growth, so that, as I was telling you, Kevin, you know, we have strong roots. When our branches shake, we got strong roots. So with that, Kevin, thank you so much for having me. This was a pleasure. Your community is beautiful.
I also
When's the conference, and when can I speak at it?
Dude, get a hold of Travis. He said he might have a spot open 2016 for you.
Okay.
And I know he's always looking for people to mix it up every year. And I know the Gilmans are excited. I'm super excited. I was on the phone with Travis yesterday for like an hour and a half talking about it. But I also want to see if anybody out there knows anything about podcasting. You know, let me know, because I'm looking for a few people to do a podcast. And Sammy's involved. I'm trying to get Danny involved, the Gilmans, Danny Ackerman and the Gilmans, and trying to have a good time with it. I'm always thinking of different things to do. So, again, thank you guys for watching. Sammy, I love you. Thank you for coming on. It's been so long. I've been trying to get you on here.
Awesome.
Thank you guys again. Have a good night.
Peace out. Bye.
We love you.